had a rough time of it. Like we've been relying on our offense, which eventually is going to get you caught. And tonight we couldn't shoot it. We didn't play very good fluidity-wise as far as moving the ball. And when that happens and you haven't been as good defensively as you should be, then that's what happens. And, we got hurt by Brewer not playing. And quite honestly, our other guys didn't play great behind Brewer. Not necessarily Kareem. He was functional. But, we need to get more out of Matoush and Quincy McGriff if we're going to fight through that injury, which early in the year we got good minutes out of, but we got to get more out of them. So I take total responsibility for that. It's a weird time of the year. I'm not going to make any excuses for them. We got to play way better than that. But we're right in the middle of exam week and a lot of new guys. It could be hard on them. Whatever. I don't really know the answer. We practiced good yesterday. We weren't any good tonight. Both ends. Upper body, shoulder. So we'll know more once we get pictures of it. It's going to be a pain tolerance thing, and then it's his right shoulder, so it's a little bit of an issue shooting the ball. So. Say that again. I mean, that's part of our problem as well. We went from a concise rotation, right, into when we brought Reese back now, nobody really knows what's going to happen, including me. So when you add him to the mix as well, that hurts you. So he's a good player, don't get me wrong. We added good players, but it's a hard mixture. You know what I mean? It's hard to bring new guys on when they haven't played all year, and then it's hard bringing Reese back when we pretty much had a pretty good. Dixon hasn't been good since we brought Reese back. So it could be mental, it could be exams, could be just not playing good. It could be anything, right? But he's not as sure as he's not sure whether he's going to play or not, which is hard. He shot the ball well. They're doing some things to take Day out of it, but in reality, he's missing the same shots that he made. So, we're not going to win if he shoots. What was he? 2 for 14 and 0 for 8. We're just not that good a team that our best player doesn't score. We're gonna have a hard time. Now, he doesn't have to score as much, but he has to be efficient. So. He had a hard time tonight. But all three teams have done a good job, Ball State, Marshall, and them. They're really trying to keep him from getting it. But he still had opportunities that he's made some of those shots. And then with Brewer out, that hurts his ability to get shots created for him. Now, we did a bad job throwing out of the post as well. So it was a conglomeration of issues. It's like Rick McFadden said, we have so many games in a short time period that we just got to plug the holes and get better 2 weeks from now. That's kind of how I view it. We got to plug the holes and gut out wins until we can play good basketball again. And I've been around a lot of teams that go through the same thing. They just don't play very good during stretches. And, we really only played a bad 5 minutes against Marshall. But tonight we just weren't any good most of the night. I think it was 19-17 when Brewer left, right? What was that, about 8 minutes left? We need to get better bench play. That's probably the biggest thing. We're playing our main guys too many damn minutes. Right now without Gunn, we got issues at the 4 spot. We can't spread out. We're big, but we can't spread out. And then, we need Matouche and Quincy McGriff to play at a high level for us to be good. And then, obviously our main players got to play better than that. I thought our main guys, their emphasis wasn't great. So, if they hunt EGBs, loose balls, deflections, one-on-one defense, wall ups, then they won't worry so much about their shooting, and they'll shoot better. But when you let every shot bother you, then it tends to snowball on you. But we came into the game shooting 39% from three, and we shot 4 for 25, and it's not a small sample size. It's a relatively large sample size, right? What's 9 games coming in? So I'd have to think that was an aberration. But part of it is bad shot selection, and then bad ball movement. So you don't take as many good shots. Although I felt like Trey Clark had some, and even Day had some that he normally makes. This was one of the nights. It's a good schedule. People you can say whatever you want, but follow Ball State scores, follow UC Santa Barbara. Uh, New Mexico State's good. Like they're a team full of junior college guys, and he knows how to coach junior college guys. He's been there, and he's been around some good coaches, Greg Marshall and Chris Jans, and it's a good coach, and they're pretty good. They have some guys that are good players. And then, Marshall obviously is good. The question for Marshall will be they're playing 7 guys, so how long will they last? But they're good, but that's what we're going to see in the A-10. But it's a hard schedule. To answer your question, it doesn't get any easier because you got DePaul who's scoring like crazy, and then you have Indiana State and Winthrop. So we got to right the ship quick. You can ask anything. We just have to fix our problems. And then, the question is, do you have good enough talent? Which I think we do. Now we got to get them all right. But I feel like we have good enough talent. So we just have to fix our problems. So we had a bad week. We weren't, you hate to lose at home. That's part of the issue. You got to win home games. But we had a tough week, and in fairness, both teams that played against us played well. But you still have to win those games. So I don't really worry about what the rest of the league's doing, other than the fact that we at least we'll know that we should be in games. We're going to play a lot of close games, so we just have to play better. Well, we're not going to play him at the 5 because we have so many good 5 men that would be detrimental to their development. We moved Dixon to the 4, which probably didn't help him any, because the 5's an easier spot to play for him. So, you got a lot of guys that are learning, like they don't know the spot, so it's a good question. The bigger thing for us is being able to play big at times, but also have a shooting 4-man in the game. And then, obviously our backcourt has to play better. I think those are the 2 biggest issues we face right now. Like, the gun and the easily thing they're issues. Now, it hadn't caught us to this point, but, they're not guarding them out on the floor. They're clogging up our driving lanes. It becomes relatively easy to figure out, especially if you're not scoring on the box, which we've had trouble scoring on the box. So that's probably that's the biggest thing. But the hardest thing for us right now is just the changes in our rotations. So like I have to look long term, but I have to look short term as well. So I wanted to get Chabi in the game, but he's not really ready yet, and we were playing from behind. But he's a good player. But like how? So it's because we don't want to play 2 5 men all the time, because then you can't guard anybody out on the floor. So it's hard. It's a hard deal. I just think it kills your development. Like, it's hard to develop when you're always making changes. So we start off without Brewer, and what we have about 3 4 weeks where we didn't have him, right, in practice even. Then we get him back, and he's still not in great shape. Again, I'm not going to make any excuses. It's just hard to develop. Like, you can see that our development's been stunted a little bit, right? It's fairly obvious, I think. We still have enough guys. Don't get me wrong, but it's the mixture part of it. And then we have guys that are like Rotroff played not as much tonight. The biggest thing is we're playing Trey Williams too much. Just too much, but we don't really have a true, like Dixon eventually will be able to play there, but he's not ready to play there yet. So who are we going to play there? We could play Matoush, but he hasn't shown that he can bang with those bigger fours yet either. So we're just kind of caught. And to answer your question, like I've had years where I didn't have any injuries or very few. We've had 2 years or a year and a half or whatever you want to call it, a year and a third right now where we've had a boatload of them. Some big ones, and it affects us. But again, nobody wants to hear it. So why talk about it? Just win without win. We were actually better when we had the injuries than when we didn't have the injuries because everybody knew they were going to play. Go ahead. I just think he's a really good player. He just has to believe in himself more. He's a talented player. He's got good skill level. He's just in a little bit of a freshman rut right now where he's all over the board. His heart's in a good place, but he just hasn't played great at either end. But he's capable. He's a good player. He just hasn't. He's had a hard 3 4 weeks. I think he's a 3 man right now, but he's not going to beat Trey Clark out right now, even though Trey makes some mistakes defensively that he shouldn't make. But he's a 3, but he can almost play multiple positions. He's got to get a little tougher to play that 4 spot, and he's got to be a little harder nosed to guard the 2 man. So he's got to play better defensively. But he's a capable offensive player, although he hasn't played great offensively in the last couple 3 weeks. But he's had choppy minutes. I don't know. I pretty much that's pretty much a pain issue, and he's got to be pain free before we put him out there because it's a tricky deal. A different injury, but same situation. So we brought him back maybe a little early last year, and then he didn't play the whole year really. He's a good player, but we have other issues. Like we can win without RJ, we can win without this guy or that guy. We have to play better. Won't be easy. It'll be a tough couple of weeks. We got to just gut it out. So hopefully they'll do some soul searching and really talk to themselves and say, hey, look, we're not going through this. Good? Thank you.